Ejiro was only 6 years old when her world changed. Her mother, Mama Ejiro, was a kind woman, gentle and quiet. She loved Ejiro more than anything, but she couldn't have more children after Ejiro was born. This made Papa Ejiro, a proud man who wanted a male child to carry his name, very angry. In their home in Warri, the atmosphere shifted when Ngozi, Ejiro's nanny, came to live with them. She was younger, beautiful, and very good at pretending. Papa Ejiro soon began to show her special attention. Ejiro didn't understand what was happening at first, but things became clearer when Ngozi got pregnant. Papa Ejiro was happy. He danced, drank, and told his friends that he would finally have a son. After Ngozi gave birth to a baby boy named Chuka, everything changed. Papa Ejiro sent Mama Ejiro away without pity. Ejiro cried and begged him, but he didn't listen. Her mother left in tears, heartbroken. A few months later, news came that Mama Ejiro had fallen ill and died. Ejiro felt like a part of her had died too. Ejiro now had to live with her stepmother, Ngozi, who treated her badly. Ngozi stopped her from going to school. She said, "School is for my son. You can help in the house." From then on, Ejiro became more of a maid than a daughter. She washed clothes, cleaned floors, cooked, and even took care of baby Chuka. Every morning, Ejiro would carry a tray of things to sell: ground nuts, oranges, sachet water, anything Ngozi could find. She walked under the hot sun, moving through the noisy streets of Warri, trying to make sales. Many times she went to bed hungry. But Ejiro didn't give up. One afternoon, while selling bananas near Igbudu market, she heard someone call her name. Ejiro. She turned. It was Mr. If, her old primary school teacher. He was surprised to see her hawking. "Why are you not in school?" he asked gently. "My stepmother said I must help in the house," she said quietly. Mr. If looked at her with sadness in his eyes. "You're a bright girl. Don't let your current situation stop you. Be strong, be obedient, but never stop learning. There is still hope." Those words stayed with Ejiro. That night, when everyone was asleep, she sat by the weak lantern and wrote in her old notebook. She still had a pencil she had hidden under her mattress. Whenever she met school children in the street, she would beg them to lend her their books after school. Some agreed, and she would read quickly before returning them. Ejiro continued like this for almost 5 years. One hot Saturday afternoon, she went to sell sachet water at a car wash near Airport Road. She was tired, dusty, and thirsty. Then she saw something that caught her eye. A man sitting in his car was reading a colorful book. The title was Tales of the Brave. Ejiro's heart jumped. She had heard of that book from one of her classmates long ago. She walked slowly to the man, nervously holding her water tray. "Sir, please, can I borrow that book?" she asked, trembling. "I'll return it. I just want to read." The man, Mr. Rowland, looked at her with surprise. He wore a neat shirt, gold-rimmed glasses, and smelled like perfume. At first, he thought she was joking. "You want to borrow a book?" he asked. Ejiro nodded. "I love reading. I used to be in school, but my life changed." He asked her to sit down and tell him her story. Ejiro told him everything, about her mother, her stepmother, and her dream to go back to school. As she spoke, Mr. Rowland listened quietly, his face hard to read. He said nothing for a long time. Then he opened his car door, gave her the book, and said, "Wait here." Ejiro stood still as he made phone calls. 20 minutes later, he returned and said, "Ejiro, from today you will go back to school. I'll pay for everything." from now until you finish university." Ejiro dropped her tray and burst into tears. She couldn't believe it. 2 weeks later, she wore a new school uniform, held a new school bag, and walked into Eaglet Nursery and Primary School. She was older than her classmates, but her heart was full of joy. She sat in the front row, ready to learn again. As she listened to the teacher that day, Ejiro looked out the window and smiled. Her new life had begun. Lesson: no matter how hard life becomes, never lose hope. Ejiro faced rejection, abuse, and the loss of her mother, yet she held on to her dreams. She remained obedient, humble, and determined. Her intelligence, patience, and faith led her to an opportunity that changed her life forever. At 16, Ejiro had grown into a tall, slim, dark-skinned girl with bright eyes that carried the weight of her past, but glimmered with hope. Thanks to the scholarship she received years ago, she was now in SS2, just 1 year from finishing secondary school. She was determined to make her late mother proud and rise above the cruelty of her past. But her stepmother, Ngozi, now 39, short, light-skinned, and often dressed in noisy Ankara and heavy makeup, had grown bitterer with every step Ejiro took toward success. She watched Ejiro come home daily in a neat green uniform, her school bag filled with borrowed textbooks. The girl had grown into something Ngozi hated: hopeful, bright, and admired. Ejiro's sponsor, the kind man she met while hawking, continued to pay her fees, sending regular supplies through the school principal. This fueled Ngozi's jealousy like kerosene on fire. Her own son, Chuka, now 10, barely passed in school. He was rude, stubborn, and uninterested in books. She couldn't hide her envy anymore. "She thinks she's better than all of us," she hissed one night. Ngozi plotted something dark. One rainy evening, she called Ejiro. "Take this food to your uncle 2 streets away," she said sweetly, handing her a flask of pepper soup. Ejiro hesitated. Ngozi had never been this kind, but she obeyed. Halfway there, a man dragged her into a deserted building. Her screams were swallowed by the thunder and rain. When it was over, she staggered home, wet and shaking. She cried in her room, unable to speak. A few weeks later, she discovered she was pregnant. Ngozi burst into crocodile tears. "You've disgraced this family. You're sleeping around." Ejiro was speechless. Her father, Mr. Igo, now 50, dark-skinned, tall and quiet, did not ask questions. He believed Ngozi. "I warned you. Now see your life." That week, a local tout named Patrick was brought in. He was 20, lanky, jobless, and known for chasing teenage girls. "This is the man that got her pregnant," Ngozi claimed confidently. Patrick, seeing an opportunity, agreed to marry her for a little money. Despite her tears, Ejiro was thrown into a forced marriage. She packed into Patrick's cramped one-room apartment. Her scholarship was paused. Her sponsor, unaware, received no word from her school. The months that followed were hell. Patrick beat her. He drank all day and screamed all night. "You think you're better than me, eh? You and your bastard child?" Ejiro gave birth to a baby girl, Zeno, small, quiet, and beautiful. She looked into her daughter's eyes and saw her reason to live. She remembered her old teacher's advice: "Don't let them break you, stay focused." One hot afternoon, she strapped Zeno to her back and went to her old school. She met with the principal, Mrs. Oko, who still remembered her brilliance. "I want to come back," she said, tears in her eyes. "I want to write WAEC." Touched, the principal helped her contact her sponsor. When he heard the truth, he was heartbroken, but proud of her courage. He resumed her sponsorship, got her a safe place to stay with Zeno, and even arranged a private tutor. Ejiro studied while breastfeeding. She walked long distances to attend extra classes. She read at night, Zeno lying beside her. The road was tough, but she kept moving. By the time WAEC and JAM came, she was ready. She passed both with flying colors and earned admission into the University of Benin to study mass communication. That evening, when the letter came, she wept with joy. She hugged Zeno tightly. "We made it," she whispered. News of her success spread. Her father heard. He didn't say a word. The guilt choked him. Ngozi, on the other hand, was furious. But it no longer mattered. Ejiro had survived. Lesson: even when life breaks your spirit and the world turns against you, your strength lies in refusing to give up. Ejiro's journey shows that tragedy is not the end. With determination, even scars can become the roots of greatness. Ejiro's first day at the university was both joyful and terrifying. She had fought so many battles to get there. Now she faced a new one, raising her baby while studying full-time. Her little girl, whom she had named Victory, was only 1 year old. At 18, Ejiro carried the weight of a young mother, a student, and a survivor. She rented a small room off campus and used part of her scholarship money to hire an old woman, Mama Titi, as a caregiver. Mama Titi was kind, patient, and had raised children of her own. She treated Victory like a granddaughter, giving Ejiro peace of mind while she went to lectures. But balancing lectures, assignments, sleepless nights, and baby care wasn't easy. Sometimes Ejiro went to class with tired eyes and an aching back. She studied during her baby's naps and at night when others slept. Her results in first year were not the best, but she passed. By her second year, another problem rose, one she never saw coming. A popular lecturer, Mr. Agada, began calling her to his office too often. At first, it was subtle. He praised her beauty and intelligence, but soon his real intentions showed. He told her clearly, "Sleep with me or fail." Ejiro was shocked. She begged him to be fair, reminding him that she had a child to care for and didn't need more pain. But Mr. Agada didn't care. When she refused him, he failed her in his course. She carried the course over, and again the next year, he failed her again for standing her ground. Ejiro cried alone in her room many nights. She thought about quitting school, especially when people mocked her for being a young mother who was playing big girl in the university. But each time she looked at her daughter, she found strength. "I can't let Victory down," she often whispered to herself. She took the course the third time, already broken inside. But this time, something unexpected happened. Another female student, Loveth, who had also been a victim of Mr. Agada's harassment, had secretly recorded his threats. Loveth had had enough. She took the evidence to the head of department and later to the school's anti-corruption and harassment unit. An investigation followed. Mr. Agada was found guilty and was sacked from the university. Many girls, including Ejiro, cried tears of relief. The following year, a new lecturer took over the course. Ejiro passed with an A. Her final year came with its own struggles, but now she was stronger. She had developed a study routine, made a few trusted friends who helped her emotionally and academically, and still worked part-time tutoring kids in the evenings. Her baby was now in nursery school. In her final semester, Ejiro worked hard like never before. She didn't want just a certificate. She wanted to prove that she could rise, no matter how hard life hit her. And she did. She graduated with a second-class upper. She cried the day she collected her certificate, holding her daughter tight. Not long after her graduation, she met Kola, a humble, educated young man who admired her strength and story. He didn't just come to flatter her, he came with seriousness, asking to build a future with her. For the first time in years, Ejiro smiled without fear. Her journey wasn't over, but it was finally going uphill. Lesson: no matter how dark the path may be, strength, focus, and doing the right thing will always lead to light. Ejiro's story teaches us that success may be delayed, but it can never be denied when you stay true and determined. Ejiro had finally found peace, or so she thought. After years of pain, struggle, and bouncing back from every setback life threw at her, love came knocking on her door in the form of Kola. Kola was a calm, kind, and hard-working young man. Their relationship started slowly, but over time it became serious. Kola loved Ejiro deeply. He admired her strength, her story, and her ability to forgive and grow. One evening, as they walked hand in hand down a quiet street after a dinner date, Kola went down on one knee and proposed. Ejiro was shocked and overwhelmed with joy. Tears filled her eyes as she accepted the ring with a smile. It felt like her prayers had finally been answered. She sat Kola down the next day and told him everything about the rape, the child, the struggles in school, and how her best friend had once betrayed her. She held nothing back. Kola listened in silence and held her hand tightly. "I still want to marry you," he said. Plans for the introduction were quickly made. Ejiro was excited. Her heart was full of hope. She believed a beautiful future was finally within reach. But fate had another test waiting. On the morning of their introduction, Kola received a letter. It had no name, no signature, just bold words. "Don't marry her. She is a witch. She destroyed her family. She will destroy yours." The letter claimed to be from someone within Ejiro's family. Kola didn't mention the letter that day, but something had changed in him. The warmth in his eyes began to fade. His calls became fewer. He stopped talking about the wedding. He became distant. Ejiro was confused. She asked, begged, prayed. But Kola gave no explanation. 2 months later, the truth came out. Kola had married another woman, Ejiro's best friend, Ada. The pain hit Ejiro like thunder. It wasn't just betrayal, it was heartbreak on top of heartbreak. Ejiro cried, but she didn't curse them. She prayed for strength. "God, please help me forgive them," she whispered through her tears. On the day of their wedding, she did something few could ever do. She dressed up, wore a smile, and attended the wedding. She hugged the bride and groom. She served food to guests. People stared in shock, wondering how she could be so calm. Deep inside, her heart was bleeding, but her spirit had learned how to rise above pain. While serving food, she turned and saw a familiar face. "Benson." "Ejiro," he called out. She turned and her eyes widened. "Benson?" They hugged like long-lost siblings. Benson had been searching for her for 4 months. He now lived in Germany and had come home determined to find her. They had met back in secondary school, and Benson had always admired her strength and brilliance. But they lost contact after school. "I never forgot you," he said, eyes fixed on hers. "I heard about what you went through. I read your story online. I've been looking for you because I want to be part of your future." Ejiro blinked, surprised and speechless. "I came to this wedding hoping to see you," he added with a smile. "I didn't know God would answer my prayer right here." Her heart, once broken, began to flutter again, but this time in peace. As they talked and laughed, something new was born, not just love, but deep respect and friendship. Benson knew her scars, yet he saw her strength. He didn't just see her past, he saw her worth. Lesson: no matter how painful the betrayal, forgiveness brings peace. And sometimes life's worst heartbreaks prepare us for better beginnings. Truly, every setback hides a comeback.
Ejiro looked out of her apartment window in Hamburg, Germany, holding one of her twin babies in her arms while her husband, Benson, chased the other toddler across their living room. A soft smile played on her lips. Life had taken her through fire, but here she was, standing, thriving, and healed. After everything she had faced, rape, heartbreak, betrayal, shame, she had finally stepped into a season of peace. Her marriage to Benson was everything she had prayed for. Loving, respectful, and supportive, Benson stood by her like a solid rock. He had loved her before the pain and had returned for her after it. And now, with their beautiful twin boys and a well-paying healthcare job in Germany, Ejiro felt blessed. But one day, an unexpected message came in from Worry. It was Ngozi, her former stepmother. The woman who had once plotted to ruin her future. She was sick, alone, and broken. Her voice over the phone was trembling, asking only to talk to Ejiro. "I know I don't deserve it," Ngozi whispered. "But please hear me. Before your father died of HIV, he abandoned me and began sleeping with other women. I've lost everything. Your half-brothers dropped out of school. I have no one left." Ejiro was silent. Ngozi continued, her words choked with tears. "I never told you this before. Your father didn't just fall in love with me. He started abusing me when I was a maid in the house. I was just a girl. Even when I wanted to leave, my parents refused. They didn't believe me. He raped me repeatedly for years until I got pregnant. That was how our marriage began. He incited me repeatedly to maltreat you. He even pressured me to poison you, but I couldn't do that. And I'm glad I didn't. But I do know I offended you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry for all I did to you." Ejiro froze, a knot tightening in her chest. All these years, she had seen Ngozi as her tormentor. But now, she realized they had both been victims of the same man. One who used, discarded, and destroyed. Later that night, Ejiro sat with Benson and told him everything. His only response was a hug and a gentle, "Do what brings you peace." The next week, Ejiro wired money to sponsor her two half-brothers back to school. She also paid for Ngozi's treatment and living expenses. It wasn't about forgetting the past, it was about choosing healing over hatred. "I forgive you," she wrote in a letter to Ngozi. "Because you too were broken. Because I'm no longer who I used to be." Forgiveness wasn't weakness. It was the final proof that Ejiro had conquered every scar life gave her. She had turned pain into purpose, setbacks into strength, and bitterness into mercy. Final lesson. Ejiro's journey shows that life doesn't always begin well, but it can end well if we hold on. From childhood trauma, shame, betrayal, and heartbreak, she rose with grace. Her story teaches that every setback hides a comeback, and true strength lies in forgiveness, even when it's not deserved. To everyone who followed this journey from part 1 to part 5, thank you. Ejiro's scars became her strength, and her strength became her story. We hope this has inspired you to never give up, no matter your past. Please subscribe to the channel, share this story with others, and stay connected for more powerful real-life tales that remind us there is always hope after setbacks.